I don't know where to start. Like if there was one game, if there was one single game, and it's funny because I feel like I've said this before, to describe this season, a roller coaster, yet winning, it was last night. If there was one game, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I feel like a bandwagon fan, but if there was a game that reminds you whenever you're on the verge of giving up or fuck it, like I've been saying, kind of giving up on them as far as 2024 goes, one game that makes you go like, oh, yeah, that's why. That's why you don't give up on this team. It's last night. I mean, talk about having a revelation. That was me last night. I had an experience where I finally realized, like, oh, shit, maybe I should just wait out the rest of the season before I fully make stupid comments like I've been doing. I mean, the very second Jalen Brunson went down and he was hopping on one leg, coming down from that jump shot, that was the revelation right there. In my head, I'm like, fuck 2023. Forget it. I don't care about 2023. The second that happened, I'm thinking about the offseason. How is this going to affect chasing that next guy? Are they going to be able to land that next guy? I'm thinking about how 2024 is probably now at risk because he's most likely, if that was the injury, if it was the injury we were all thinking, 2024 is out the window because he's not going to be back until late that season. And if he does come back, like I'm thinking about Jalen Brunson's career, like he's probably not going to be the same athletically. And he's already a point guard who doesn't have elite athleticism. And of course, I'm thinking about Brunson as a human. I'm thinking about him and Rick Brunson. Like, damn, that's such a shame. And he's due to get paid after next season. Like, Jesus. That happened last night. And I can't list a single play that happened in the first half. I did not give two shits about what happened in the first 24 minutes of the game. All I was doing, the TV was on mute, but I wasn't even looking at it. All I was looking at was Twitter, my Twitter feed, waiting for an update. And you get the thank God you get that update that you did, close to the second half or halftime. But if there was a game that was the epitome of this season, of this team, under Tom Thibodeau, it was last night. Tom Thibodeau culture. Anything and everything it takes to win, you betcha. If Deuce McBride has to play 47 minutes, sure, let's do it. If Josh Hart has to play 45 plus minutes in back-to-back games, sure, fuck it, let's do it. Jalen Brunson goes down with a potentially career-altering injury at the time. The way the Knicks were fighting out there, going up double figures immediately after, it was as if that never happened. This is a Tom Thibodeau team. This is why you live with the warts when it comes to Tom Thibodeau. So last night, you could say I had a fucking revelation that gave me a totally new outlook on this team. It made me realize how fortunate I am. Brunson's still here. He's still here. And amidst all the chaos this year, with the injuries, the roster changes and the trades and the minutes drama, the tight standings in the Eastern Conference that just make you nervous every night you look up, no one loses. Amidst all that roller coaster of emotion, you look up and the Knicks are still winning and they're in fourth place. Still. They have not dropped down. They are now 7-8 without Julius and OG Anunoby. Not 3-12, not 4-11. They're 7-8, still fourth, and it's March 4th, people. It's March 4th. We're almost there. Like, just keep getting by. And that was the game, which it's like, yeah, it hit me. It kind of hit me. It's like, all right, maybe I'm not fully out on them. Something clicked. It just, the second that happened, I'm like, oh, I got to zoom out a little bit. And he's okay, by the way. I don't know where you've been if you need me to tell you that. It's just a knee contusion, so there's no ACL tear, nothing to do. He didn't hurt his MCL, his Achilles, just a bruise. It's a bruise. It's some nerve damage. It's nothing serious. The x-rays were negative. He doesn't even need to go for an MRI. You got these sports doctors on Twitter, Dr. Eric Friedman, saying he's fine. It's most likely days to a week. You got the video that came out last night on YouTube by Dr. Brian Suterer saying it's just the nerves. It's going to be a couple days to a week. They asked Dante DiVincenzo last night post-game. He said Brunson's fine. He's as tough as nails. Tom Thibodeau this morning comes out and says that Brunson's not only fine, but he could play tomorrow. Which, like, the second I heard that, I just, for some reason, thought of the old man in dodgeball. If you could dodge a wrench. That's Tom Thibodeau. I think we're okay. I think we avoided worst case scenario. The energy last night's post game, you could just kind of feel like nobody was down. As opposed to somebody else made this comparison I saw and I heard on a podcast, like when Randall went down a month ago, you could feel the somberness. You knew something was up. But the energy last night, you could tell the guys talked to Brunson and that he's fine. And so you get the reports that he's going to be fine. The halftime report actually listed him as questionable. So as soon as that report came out, that's kind of when I took a deep breath and I was able to focus in and watch the second half. Because you don't list somebody who just tore his Achilles or ACL or whatever as questionable to return to that same very game. So that kind of lifted our spirits the second we saw that news. So other than that, we're progressing on the injury front. We're getting healthy. Like OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson have all traveled with the team. Randle has progressed to taking light contact, pad work. It's nothing, no human contact yet. So they were obviously without those three last night, plus Brunson. Cleveland was without Donovan Mitchell with the knee injury and Karis LeVert with his elbow problem. Just ask Mark Berman. I'm sure he'll let you know. Good God. So, yeah, the first half last night, I couldn't tell you. But as I was able to focus in more on that second half, I was able to actually pay attention and know what was up. By the way, let's get to our damn intro. Episode 638. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show. She was doing a great job of feeding. That is over.
Coming up, so KP, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
All right, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to episode 638 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Yeah, we just said it all. Thank God Jalen Brunson's okay. And I had a revelation last night. You know, I was down on. To be honest, I'm still very much concerned about how this team's going to do handling these injuries, and I'm not 100% guaranteeing they're going to make this conference run, but maybe I did jump the gun with the 100% out. Let's shift my focus to the Yankees, because I don't know, man. Sometimes you just have an awakening, and this was that revelation. So, yeah, the Knicks won last night. 107-98. The Fightin' Thibodeaus won. First half, couldn't tell you. Second half comes, third quarter. The Knicks go on an early 8-0 run. Cleveland responds with a 9-0 run, but then Dante DiVincenzo gets hot. The Knicks go up 15 points late in the third. But then Sam Merrill, who was hot all night, gets hot late in the period. And it's 87-78 Knicks going into the fourth. Cleveland goes on this 9-0 run early fourth quarter. Bojan Bogdanovic, kind of one of the few shots he did hit in the fourth, maybe the only shot he hit in the fourth. He did have a good game, but he snaps that run with a big 4-point play. The Knicks playing some lockdown defense. Then Bogey did miss some big-time threes in the final 3 minutes, but you had Josh Hart step up with huge play. He knocks down the sidestep three. Josh Hart of all humans. And then he grabs Donovan Mitchell's chain, tucks it in. That was awesome. The ultimate disrespect. Love that. Gets the steal on the other end. Deuce McBride ices it with 30-something seconds to play, knocking down a corner three. And the Knicks, again, seal the victory, 107-98. Dante DiVincenzo leads the Knicks with a very Brunson-esque 28 points. Bojan has 20 points to lead the bench. Sam Merrill for the Cavs led with 21 points. He was 7 of 13 from both the field and three. Sniping the shit out of the Knicks. He was giving them problems. Darius Garland had 19 points. Big first half. But the Knicks win. I'm not concerned about this. Like, if the Knicks play this Cleveland team in a playoff again, they are so soft. They remain soft. The Knicks exposed them last postseason, and I expect nothing less if they were to run into them again. Like, I feel very, 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 I was going to say really or very, I feel very good about this matchup. You know, it's a very easy matchup for the Knicks. Rotation-wise, you look at their rosters, the Knicks have a deeper roster. The Knicks have a lot of players who match up better. It's a better matchup for the Knicks physically. You've gotten to a point now, I believe, where it's like not just the physical advantage, but like the Knicks, it's psychological at this point. I think the Knicks are in their heads. You know, and it all started last year. They go 3-1 against them in the regular season. They face them in the playoffs, and they gentlemen sweep them. And this year, they take 2 out of 3 in the regular season against the Cavs. So they're 9-3 against Cleveland altogether in the past 2 years. They always seem to run into Cleveland at the perfect time. It's always like after something bad, and they get a big win. You're always hearing these Cavs players make these weird comments that like indicates they are so in their heads. It's the Knicks. They bitch this team around. Like Josh Hart doing that to Donovan Mitchell last night was so funny. So awesome. And like, this is a team that like their best player could very well be a Knick this summer. Like, he doesn't want to be there. He wants to be in New York City. Like, I just think the Knicks have this team's number. This is not a team I'm terrified of. This is a team that the Knicks shut down every time they play them. The Cavs have scored 98 points or less in each of their last 6 meetings now. The Knicks have, dare I say, mastered the Cleveland Cavs. And it feels so good to do that to this team because, like, all the bullshit hype, all the disrespect towards the Knicks winning this game on ESPN. You know, the only thing better would have been if this was a TNT game and Shaq had to talk about it, because Big Shaq continues to disrespect the Knicks out of pure bitterness, and just like, you know, he's like, oh, Cleveland's better. Like, it didn't even happen last year. Like, this team hasn't just matched up perfectly every time they played them. That would have been the only better thing if this was on TNT and not ESPN. But man, yeah, this team does not scare me the slightest. And I knock on wood, just in case it doesn't haunt me, but come back to bite me. But this team is better than Cleveland. I don't care what the standings say. That doesn't mean shit when it comes to teams who are close. And, you know, the fact that the Knicks were without 4 of their 5 starters and they were able to still score 107 points, which is not a lot of points. But the fact that they were missing a 28 points per game scorer, a 24 points per game scorer, a 15 points per game scorer, I thought the offense was pretty good. I thought Tom Thibodeau did a nice job of you know, being like, okay, let's quickly readjust the game plan and let's emphasize our bigs and off-ball movement. Let's use those two things together to generate offense, and that's exactly what they did. And yes, credit to the Knick guards for stepping in for Brunson and handling the ball. Deuce McBride, who we'll talk about, but Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart playmaking. Some nice Dante pick and rolls. He's been going to the empty side a lot since the OG Anunoby trade as that secondary ball handler. Josh Hart running pick and rolls last night, dribbling to the empty side to clear out the roll for the big, going to the empty side and attacking the baseline and finishing. He's done a nice job on the ball. But the way that the Knicks last night, especially Tom Thibodeau, was able to spam his big men, really just spam them up top last night was huge. And the Knicks just running actions, DHO, blind pig, like backdoor sets to find cutters, off-ball movement around screens, flare screens on the wings to open up perimeter shooters like Dante and Deuce McBride. And from all 3 of these bigs, Hart finding the back door in those blind pig actions. Precious Achiuwa setting wing screens. Jericho Sims in DHO in that third quarter. The Knicks were running a lot of 5 out. You know, without Brunson on the floor, they needed a way to counter those spacing problems. So Tibbs ran 5 out a lot. And that helps when you have Hart on the floor because he can bring the defense out of the paint with his ability to DHO, pass, to relocate off ball. And he can put the ball on the floor and attack the mismatch like he did once or twice with Evan Mobley last night. Way too strong. You saw the Knicks run empty side ghost screens to open up Bojan. He missed that shot, that one shot on the left wing where he slipped the screen. Got the wide open look though. So that's something I would like to see them do more with him. Because it's very difficult to defend a ghost screen. Because you have to decide in a split second if you want to switch or not. They were very good using quickly in those actions. Did it last night with Deuce and Bojan. So I thought the offense was something to note right off the bat here. And like, how do you not credit Josh Hart for the game he had, the triple-double that Josh Hart had?
Bing bang.
Josh Hart started at wing last night. 13 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was 3 for 6 from 3. and he was a plus 16 across 45 minutes. This was a classic Josh Hart game. Grit, grind, everything. He got every rebound possible out there. Just toying Cleveland's soft bigs. He was pushing the pace off every rebound to beat the defense before they get set and find his teammates. Even looked pretty good in the half court. Like, he had some post touches on Sam Merrill. And obviously he knocked down that big basket late with the sidestep three. Goes back on the other end, gets the big stop. Josh Hart is New York City grit to a T. He's that Thibodeau Nick. And he's been playing him. He's Iron Man. Like, he's been playing him 40 minutes in 7 of his last 8 games, 45 minutes or more in back-to-back games. That's why Tibbs loves him. So that's why when it comes to Josh Hart, you have to sometimes remind yourself, yes, the spacing issues, but what he brings, you have to live with that. And I think that when the Knicks, if the Knicks get fully healthy again, he'll be going back to his normal 25 minutes a game role as opposed to playing 45 minutes. And I've always said, and this is not a shot at Josh Hart, but less is more when it comes to Josh Hart. So I think, yeah, in a season that's been very up and down for Josh Hart, last night was one of those games that reminded you this is why they paid him. So he's going to get the game ball among the starting unit. Josh Hart last night getting his 10th game ball. 10th game ball of the season. Deuce McBride's getting his 12th game ball last night. I thought he played great. 16 points. He was 4 of 9 from 3. He had 5 assists, no turnovers. You know, came off the bench last night, but we all know ended up playing the entire fucking game. Big baskets in the fourth quarter. He had the three-pointer in response to Sam Merrill's 3, and then a little later knocks down the 3 again to ice the game with about 30 seconds, putting the Knicks up 9. I've been impressed, or I was impressed last night, with his pick and roll play, his pick and roll gravity. There was a play in the second quarter, late in the second. Cleveland brings Jared Allen to hedge. Deuce kind of counters it with a retreat dribble. He drives, and he makes a very quick skip pass to Josh Hart on the weak side corner, which eventually leads to a Dante DiVincenzo basket on the other side of the floor. That's a play you didn't see him do. He didn't go to that move earlier in the year. So improving in terms of his ball manipulation, his pick and roll awareness to read the defense live and make decisions on the fly like that. That was impressive with his head up and just on a swivel. His mid-range game has improved this season. We've talked about that countlessly. His off-the-dribble pull-up game. His handles may not be the greatest, but I tell you what, last night he displayed an excellent... that crossover on Evan Mobley when he was in drop. He attacks him. Mobley falls to his fucking ass. You know? So he did a good job on the ball. Obviously with some help from Josh and Dante. But I thought it was a great game from Deuce. Defensively, he had a tough time on Darius Garland, especially in the first half. But again, this is a kid who had to play 47 minutes. He never sat. As soon as Brunson went down, it was Deuce for the rest of the game. So that's just a commendable job to be able to do that. And you're seeing Deuce a lot lately. Alec Burks, 11 minutes in back-to-back games. Deuce has gotten more minutes in both of those games. And this was in, again, a game without Jalen, where Burke still just got 11 minutes. So I think Tom Thibodeau is showing you that who he's probably going to favor when the Knicks are fully healthy. Now, interesting little wrinkle into the guard rotation is Shake Milton. Shake Milton signed with the Knicks. Let me just edit this. There we go. Knicks, lost my spot. Shake Milton signed with the Knicks either late 2 nights ago or early yesterday on, I believe, a minimum contract. And, real briefly, he's a 27-year-old guard who can shoot and score a little bit. I remember him from the Sixers. That was probably when he was at his best. Then he was with Minnesota for a little bit, and then Detroit earlier this year. I expect him to just be injury insurance. I think if Jalen Brunson does miss some time, maybe Shake Milton becomes your 9th man, maybe your 8.5. It's let's say Jalen sits tomorrow, and it's Deuce, Dante, Hart, Precious, Hart, which is I think what Tibbs would do. But then you go to your bench, and it's Burks, Bogey, Jericho, and then Shake as your 8.5. So, now if Brunson does return sometime this week, he's obviously not going to expand to 10. So Shake probably doesn't see minutes. He's probably just going to be in the long run situational in a playoff series if they need to play him. But I can't imagine that he's going to see a bunch of time. And I really think that's all we have, folks. So what we're going to do is wrap this up in just a few minutes. We're going to head to break, come back, talk about the schedule ahead, get to our trivia, and that will be it. Stay with us here on the podcast, episode 638 of BD4.
Hey there, thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 638 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Big schedule ahead. So the Knicks, again, as we currently speak, it is Monday, March 4th, are the number 4 seed. And these next 4 games coming up are going to be very important. They've got Atlanta tomorrow night. Now, Atlanta's the 10 seed, and they're 9.5 back from the Knicks. Then they have Orlando, who is the 6th seed, 1 game from the Knicks. Then they play Philly twice in a row. Philly is the number 5 seed, just a half game back of New York. So those are the 2 teams right on their tail. And they're playing them in 3 of their next 4. So Atlanta's got to be the must-win. That's one they have to take. I know the Knicks might be without Brunson tomorrow, but they're going to be without Trae Young. That's one you have to take. And then Orlando, Philly, right on your tail. I mean, I would love for the Knicks to take 2 of those. Maybe that's too much to ask, depending on the health of Jalen Brunson, though. That'd be nice to get 2, just to get a little bit of breathing room. But the good news is that these next 4 games, each of them are at Madison Square Garden. So, sigh of relief, folks. We can actually breathe. It seems like Jalen's okay. And the Knicks, again, they're 7-8 without Julius Randle. At the time of the injury, I said if he comes back in March, just go 7-7 until then. So we're basically doing that, but obviously he's not back yet. Maybe it sounds like he will be in April. But yeah, there's something about last night. That injury just like made things click. It's like, oh, yeah, don't give up yet. Good win, man. Possibly the biggest win of the season given the circumstances. So with that said, we'll wrap it up with our trivia in just a sec. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you tuning in to BD4, episode 638 of the podcast. We're about to wrap this one up. But first, let's wrap it up with our trivia question of the night. Okay, so our NYY, NYK, MMA trivia question of the day for this episode, episode 638, is: in 226 regular season matchups, the Knicks and Cavs have the same exact win total against each other. True or false? All right. True or false? In 226 regular season matchups, the Knicks and Cavs have the same exact win total against each other. So this is all time. So let me know the answer. Wherever you can reach me, if you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode in front of all 2 of our listeners. So with that said, that's all we got. And I will see you guys in 639, where we will be most likely talking Knicks Hawks. If I can get a Yankees episode in, I'll try. But most likely you'll be hearing about the Knicks in 639. So a good win. Something that just like kept me going. I needed, in such a weird way, I needed that all to happen. I needed that Brunson scare to kind of like snap me out of it. In such a weird way. But thank you, and I'll see you all in the next show. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks!